Yes, we've recently unearthed these ancient artifacts, 5,000 to 6,000 years old, and obviously they were involved in some sort of ritual, a rite, mythology of the culture, and so on. The frog being the frog god, I suppose, and sacrifices could be made, put in the mouth, or perhaps things were burned in there. Smoke would come out as part of a ritual. Archaeology is fascinating. And in case you were wondering just how high the water got here recently, that out there, whatever it is, maybe a life raft or something floating thing, plastic tent, who knows. That's how high the water was. It's stuck on those branches there. I'm out here on the bike today, and what should we do for today's little talk? Well, come to some conclusions about talk. What was the original catalyst was hearing someone talking about the media, that the media is exaggerating, is exacerbating things and creating panic and furor and all this stuff, whether it's coronavirus or politics or whatever. And of course we know the way it works is if they don't, then the ratings go down. So in a way it's similar to, these comments were on Facebook. So, okay, you've got an account on Facebook, you're posting on Facebook, and if you don't make some, say something, then your ratings go down. Well, so you're complaining about their ratings going, trying to keep theirs up, and then you're trying to keep yours up as well. So, giving it some more thought, had the idea that, or the perception that talking is can be of two types. So, type one is to make a statement. I had an example of that the other day. As a guy was breaking up a driveway to replace it, and I needed some of the pieces. So I asked him if I could take some away. He said sure. So we started talking. This guy, a little younger than me, perhaps, and so I mentioned that I'd had the flu, so that leads to coronavirus. So he's talking about that, and then didn't take too long in there before the religion comes up. Oh, well, God gave us an immune system. It's like, I didn't say, well, which God? Which God you talking about? You mean your God, or, oh, the God? Oh, yeah, right, So, this is a good example of someone who in their mind has a catalog of statements and can't wait to get into a conversation with someone to deliver them, or paste them on your ass. So anyway, I got pasted with his God thing, which it's not that I don't think there is a God, but basically if you got to talk about it, you really probably don't know anything what you're talking about. If you used a metaphor like blood corpuscles, right? So if each of us is like a corpuscle, we live in 4D on this duality plane, or whatever you want to call it. We're going along through the veins with other corpuscles, we have traffic jams, we bump into each other, this is our life, And it's like, so we're inside the system, inside veins, inside the body. Outside the body, there's all this other stuff that no one can imagine or suspect is there. Well, you might suspect it's there, but to equate it with our situation, it would be like other dimensions. So anyway, the corpuscles are in the veins, wandering around. It's like, oh, someday they think, oh, there must be more than this. Well, of course, it's a giant corpuscle with light coming out of it. That's your God, And nothing could be further than from the truth. I mean, our comprehension is so limited. So anyway, not to get into the whole religion thing, but I'm basically, well, here's my statement, you know. But religion, if it's based on faith, it's basically fake. It's a hallucination, because you think that you are onto something, and really you're just shut off from everything, shut off from experience, shut off from God, basically. The more you talk about it, the less you know about it, and it becomes pretty obvious. So anyway, that's number one, speaking to make a statement. And there's a tremendous amount of that. So people have their politics, their religion, whatever, ideologies, scientific theories, and they can't wait to deliver them to you. Now, you know, in a way you might say, oh, Hoffman, it's like you're doing the same damn thing. And you know, I get some criticism on this YouTube channel. I got some the other day that, you know, quite colorful and hates my guts, but knows everything about me, is stalking me, knows my website, knows my eBay, what I'm selling here and there, you know. He's a follower, he's a hater, you know. So, but the point is about the YouTube channel is that I'm not, if you're coming here and watching this, you're doing it voluntarily. And I'm not flogging you with it. I don't take these videos and post them on Facebook, for example. So, anyway. And as I've said before, it's like a diuretic for me. It's a way for me to get them out of my head. And actually, it's therapeutic, because once I get into the nature scene here with the quiet, the peace and calm and everything, it's like, it is sort of mental diarrhea time. It's time to get rid of this stuff. So anyway, that's type number one. Speaking to make a statement, establish a position. The other kind is speaking to learn. So this might be where you have a conversation with someone, and you're learning about the human condition. You're making observations about them. You're asking questions, perhaps. Because a question is still, well, stated question. It's a little different. But anyway, it's a completely different kind of communication. And it's about learning. It's not coming from a position where you know everything, you know. I might have mentioned my flat earther friends before, or ex-flat earther friends, you know, some salt of the earth people that we kind of lost into that cult. And, you know, psychologically they were desperate to make a statement where they had some expertise. And, you know, get some attention, all that. So, anyway, what we're seeing, I think, with especially with technology and social media and things like that, is now everyone can make their statements. And you know, like I said about the ratings, you don't want your ratings to go down. Well, you know, this morning I was going through my older works. I'm remastering a bunch of paintings digitally. I don't own them anymore, so I'm remastering them with Photoshop. But you know, came across some paintings that I'd kind of forgotten about. Fuck this bike. And hold on. There, kickstand. And saw one I particularly liked, you know, and I'll show you. And I put it on Facebook as my background, knowing full well this thing is not going to get any likes. If it does, I'll let you know. Probably it won't. Reason being, as I was explaining to a friend of mine the other day who does art, so when people look at art, they're not looking for a new experience. They may think they are, but really they're looking for a variation of some kind of experience they've already had. So there are two things that identifiers that people use when they look at a piece of art. Number one, recognition. So in terms of subject matter, it's like, is there something in there that I recognize? Oh, I like that. It's Daffy Duck, or it's Star Wars, or something. Tarzan, you know? So it's like, I recognize that. So I've made a connection. So it doesn't matter who the artist is, what the technique was, what the work was, whatever, it's simple recognition. And then the other one is, number two, comparison. So they would look at one painting or one piece of art, and maybe there's 10 other pieces next to it, and they say, oh, I like that one the best. That's the best. At least it is for now. Doesn't matter why it's the best, how it's the best, or anything. It could be just because you recognize it and you think it's the best. So anyway, what happens with art is that people don't understand the nuts and bolts. They can't look at a painting or anything else for the most part. They're laymen, and that's okay. I mean, everyone starts somewhere. But they look at it and they can't appreciate it on more than the simple levels of recognition or comparison to something else. And really that's missing the whole point. It really is. So anyway, I'll hopefully go into that a little further in more depth. It's certainly part of what I'm teaching in the Art Academy. So, and we're offering some good deals there. The portfolio review is a monthly thing. Send in 10 to 15 pieces. You get a 15 to 20 minute video review, in depth, helpful, constructive advice, suggestions, and sometimes assignments, which you can go back and work on for the next month and then come back again. So getting quite a few people involved in that, and they say it's helpful.